Okay. Today we're going to start on Daf Yomi Warriors 22a. I think Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. It's less of a learning, we should have the basic English. Learning for Shlema, for my needs. For my father, Stali Ben Menucha Bela. The Mishnah says like this: Kama Malkan, I say. That's correct, that's what we're up to, right? Kama Malkan. How many lashes does a person get when a person is supposed to get lashes? How many lashes do they give him? So it says, 40 minus 1. Shnemar b'mispar arba'im. In the Torah, it says the number of 40. So then why isn't it 40? So we answer, Shnemar b'mispar arba'im, minyan shehu samach la'arba'im. Now, one version here is, it's a number that's close to 40, not 40 actually. There's another version of this text which says minyan shu seikim es arba'im. That's going to be the version. Seikim means that prepares. It's a number that prepares to 40, which means it's one that's preceding 40. Rabbi Yehuda says arba'im shleimus like no, it gets 40 itself, not 39 but 40. On page 22, page Chav page. See on the top it says a page number. On the top of the page is the page number. So you want to turn to Chav page. Keep going, keep going. No, you're going the wrong way. No. Keep turning. Go to Chav page. Keep going. One second, now you're in the wrong stuff. You're about to finish it. Okay. Where do they give the extra malchus? It sounds like it's obvious where they give the first 39. So where do you give the extra malchus? It says ben kseifav, between the shoulders. It was divided into thirds, as we'll see. That 2/3 were given on the back and 1/3 was given on the front. If there was an extra, this extra one, which according to Rabbi Yehuda they give between the shoulders. Let's see. When they evaluate how much he's able to handle, they can only give him. They can only do it. They won't do 17. Don't do a number that can't be divided by 3. You have to do only a number that's divided by 3. 39. Kippur is 39. Kippur is, so it's divided by 3. 13, 13, 13. They go up, like, so 17 would go to 18? Yeah. Well, no, if you can't handle 17, then it would have to go down. Is 16 divisible by 3? No, 15. Yeah. Amdul Kabal Arbaim. What happens if the doctors were there? They decide like what he can handle. They say, okay, yeah, he can do 40. But like they started to hit him. Vamdu, and they realized they did another evaluation. Can't handle it. So Potter, they let him go. The new diagnosis is the one that's accepted. Let's say they evaluated him for 18. Mishalaka, he got to 18. Said, oh, things are going good. You can give him more. Let's finish this up. You can take it all the way to 39. Says no, he's Potter. Right? So we say the first evaluation is good. My time, what's the reason? I'm asking, what's the reason why it's 39 and not 40? It says, Iksiv Arbaim b'misperf would say 40 in number. Avamina Arbaim b'minyan, would say the number is 40. Hashtiksiv b'mispar Arbaim, but it says by the number of 40. Minyan shuseikim es Arbaim. On the side of my Gemara, it says that the word seikim Do you see? They have the English Onkelos Chumash. Yeah. If you go up, you see the Ramban. Next to it is another set of Chumashim. Bring me the Shemais. They're translating the word sikum, which we usually translate as a tally, like the number, the amount. They're translating as what prepares. Let's see. At the end of Beresh, at the end of Shemais, they stop preparing the straw for them, right? The bricks. Peichen levenim, he says, uskum levnaya. Let's see what this means. Oh, it means the total amount. But you must still provide the same total amount of the bricks. I don't know how they're getting that sukum sekim. Look at how are they getting that it means 39? Okay, I don't know.
In modern Hebrew, schum, it's like a summary, right?
Right.
So it's like
Right, a total number. So here, somehow it means minyan shu sekim esarbaim. It's the one that makes the total, not the total as in the noun, but it like causes the total. What's the number that causes the total? It's the number before that. All right. Amar Rava. Rava says, "Kamatip shoy sharinshi." How foolish are other people, or majority of people? The kaimim mikami sefer Torah, the kaimim mikami gavrava, that they stand for a sefer Torah, but they don't stand in front of a sage, great person. Sefer Torah says that a person gets 40 lashes. And the rabbis, they diminished it. They decreased it by one. Apparently, the rabbis have the ability to decrease or to affect what it says in the Torah. So people should stand for the rabbis also. But it sounds like he's saying, no.
Torah is Hashem.
No. I don't know. It looks like there's honor that's supposed to be given to those that interpret. Sounds a little secondary. Usually we don't give the honor. You give honor to Hashem.
I learned that the rabbis are Hashem will. So, like, it's the same thing.
You know, but what happened to the will, giving honor to the sun and the moon and the stars and this? Also, they're carrying out the will of Hashem.
Yeah, but those, they don't have free choice.
Oh, they think because of the free choice. So those that carry out the will out of free choice.
And the Torah says, when you commanded this, when the Torah says, that wrong.
Okay. Rabbi Daimer. Yeah. You know why that's confusing? Because if you're honoring Hashem, then you honor the will of Hashem. Okay, so the person doesn't have free choice. It's still the will of Hashem. Now, when you're saying that you're honoring the person's free choice, it means you're not honoring Hashem. You're honoring the person's free choice. It's not. It's like how do you have both of those?
you're honoring the Torah within the person. That's what you're honoring.
And like that intrinsic process is in my brain for the past couple of days because it was in Tanya that it's like even when we think that we're serving like our 8 to 12, it's like kind of like selfish because it's really like our inner Hashem serving itself, like
No, that's not what it says. No.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda says Abayim Shleimus, 40 complete ones. Rabbi Yitzchak, my time with Rabbi Yehuda. What's the reason for Rabbi Yehuda why he says 40 and the sages say 39? What are these sticks that are in your hand, between your hands? He says he says that I hit the house of my beloved. How do they translate that there in your commentary?
Not sure.
What we're understanding is that he's going to be hit on his shoulders. What are the wounds? Not sticks. What are the wounds? What are the wounds that are between your arms? He says, lashes in the house of those who loved me. Since the first 39 weren't done between the shoulders, so this is must be Rabbi Yehuda's opinion that says that he gets struck between the shoulders. Rabbanon, what do the Rabbanon say to this? They say, Hahu b'tinek shel bisraban. It's talking about someone that was hit not because of lashes, because he did a sin, but because he wasn't studying in school. The teacher hit him. So it has nothing to do with lashes. Ein aimdim ella b'makos haruyos. We only evaluate. We only make up how much he's going to get hit by. We only estimate this by something that's divisible by 3. And then what do we say? That if on the first wide line, but if he starts to get hit and then we see that he can't handle it, then we let him go. So laka, that's because we started to hit him in. That's when we would let him go. Lay laka, but if we didn't hit him yet, we just decided to change our diagnosis. Not diagnosis. What do you call it? How much we estimate how much he can handle. Then we don't change it. We don't exempt him. If it's only when he was hit that we'll exempt him now afterwards when he can't handle it. But if we do one diagnostic and then we do it again without being hit, without it starting, then we don't change it. Where it says Ramina, 1 second. Amdu lekabel arboim. If they estimated how much he can handle, that it was 40. Chazru v'amdu. It doesn't say they hit him. It just says they estimated again. That he's not able to handle it. Then he's pater. We didn't mention anything about being hit. Then he's also pater. If they decided that he could handle 18, and then they changed it and they said that he can handle 40. So we say, oh, he's exempt after 18. 1 second, it was only exempt if they hit him. Not if they just switch the see, we're understand. Okay, let's take a look at the answer. Amar Rav Sheshes says like kasha. Adam do liyaymi, Adam do lamachar liyaymi ochra. It depends. Different interpretations for this. But if the estimation was what he can handle today, and then they did another estimation today, then if they didn't hit him in the middle, then we'll just say that the first estimation was a mistake. And we'll only go by the second one. So if they estimated him for 18, and then they said, no, he can really handle 40, so then we'll give him the 40. And if it's the opposite, if they estimated him for 40, and then they realized that it's only 18, so we'll go by the new one. It's on the same day. But if it's on another, if it's on another day, then we'll go by the first estimation, unless he was hit. If they're not hitting him today, they're hitting him tomorrow. And they estimated him that he can handle 18. And then they change it tomorrow, that he can handle 40. But then we go by the first estimation, not by the second. But that's only if he was hit. But if he wasn't hit, let me read your notes. Let me see how they'd say it.
Right. Is it gonna work the same way, adding or like taking away the lashes?
That's what it seems. If he has already been flogged, he's indeed exempt from further lashes. But if he's not yet been flogged, okay, we're talking about the if it was 18, and then okay, the contradiction is if you assess him to receive the full 40 lashes. Okay, let's see, Amar of Sheshus. The Mishnah implies that when no lashes were received and the original assessment of 40 was revised downward, the offender must wait until he is able to endure 40. Whereas if he had received a portion of the lashes, he is exempt from the rest. Yeah? If they assess that he can handle 40, and then they want to change their mind, they can't change their mind. And he has to get the full 40, even though now things look different, unless they assessed after he was already started to be struck. Then they can switch, but not before. However, then we have a brisa that says that they can switch it even before he's being struck. They just, for this, the Gemara answers, it's not difficult. The Mishnah speaks of where they reassessed him on the very day of the original assessment, which means since it is unlikely that his condition changed so markedly on the same day, we assume that the first evaluation of his physical condition was erroneous. The first assessment is therefore null and void. Hence, in the first case of the Mishnah, if he received even part of the first, if he received even part of the first assessment before the court realized its mistake, he is exempt from further lashes, since he has been disgraced by whatever lashes he received until this point. However, if he did not receive any lashes from the first assessment, wait until he recovers his health, and then give him the proper evaluation.
So, how they would take, let's say for 40, and then let's say at 18, like he couldn't handle it anymore, the doctor would stop it, and then they would go back.
Go back later. No, once he's hit already, and then they realize that he can't handle it, then they release him. Second assessment, they release him. That everyone agrees. After he's being hit, then they stop. Question is, if they reassess him before he's hit, and it's different. So then, first assessment is null and void. If he did not yet receive any lashes from the first assessment, we wait until he recovers his health and then give him a proper evaluation. So we won't go by this. Why don't we go just do the second evaluation? That's what they ask. However, okay, the basic idea over here is that if it's on a different day, then we can say that the first evaluation was actually correct and his situation changed. But if it's on the same day, then we say that first assessment was just null and void, and then we have to wait to give him a proper assessment. Okay, let's see the next Mishnah. If he did an act that has two prohibitions, for example, he plowed the field. By doing that, he covered the seeds as well. So he did, right? Remember we spoke about that yesterday. So on Yom Tov. So if they give one assessment of what he can handle, then he gets that assessment and pater. Even for both lashes, they do both lashes together. But if they don't do both assessments together, then then we give him one lashes, and then we give him a second lashes after he recovers from the first one. Okay, the Gemara says, but we said you don't do one assessment for two prohibitions. We're supposed to do them separately. I'm Rav Sheshus. Sheshus comes along to answer this one as well. He says, like Kasha. This is where they assessed him for 41. 41 is not divisible by 3. So it's the 39 plus 2, which is no good. We need to be divisible by 3. So therefore, we don't consider that a one. Don't consider that one assessment. We'll only consider that one assessment. We won't consider it an assessment for both. Consider it that he's all he's getting is the 39. However, if the other case is Damdul Arban Betarti, where they assessed him for 42. 42 is divisible by 3, right?
Six letters.
What would be?
7 letters.
7.
49 plus 3 is 39 plus 3.
Yeah, so it would be 13. It'd be 14. 14 times 3. Okay. So then, if they assessed him that he can handle 42, then that would be considered both prohibitions are being taken care of by this one, these 42. Ketzad Malkan, I say, how do they hit him? What they do is they have a post that's about 2 amas or an arm and a half. They lean him over the post. It's like a telephone pole that's very short, an amma tall. They lean him over that, and then they wrap his arms around the post. So basically his back is like down over. Like they would put the kid on the table, on the teacher's desk. So they would what? Yeah, about waist high. So in the principal's office, right?
Cutter with holes in it.
Oh. So Kaifin Shteyada Valamad Helach Chazan Knesses. The one in charge, like the Gabbai, grabs his clothing. If they tore, then they tore. Nifrmu, they tore on the stitch. Nifrmu, then they tore. Until it reveals his chest. He's going to get hit on the front. He's going to get hit on the back. And there's a stone that's behind the person. And this Gabbai stands in it. He has in his hand. He has a whip. Shel egel fula of a calf hide, doubled over. And then 2 into 4, so it's doubled over twice. And there's 2 straps of donkey hide that are going up and down in it, which probably means like woven into it. Now, if you look at the Koran and open the front of his front cover, no. Oh yeah, see the strap over there? You see the picture? You have a picture on yours, Daniel? So that must be, the big one must be the calf, and then the other ones that are going up and down. Yada tefach, its handle is a tefach, or a chava tefach, and it's a tefach wide. That's why it looks on that picture like it's wide. Reisha magas al pikre. So now the head of it is going to hit up until the edge of the stomach. Now what's happening is they're going to hit him. Here's the person, right? That's the person. They're going to hit him with a strap like this on his back. Now, if they hit him on his back, so it can go around him, but it can't go up till his stomach. It can go over his side, but it can't go past into his stomach. The other option is, there's another thought, that they're hitting him over his shoulders downwards. By his head, hitting him over his shoulders. And it can only reach up until his stomach. It doesn't go past the stomach. They don't hit him on the stomach.
That's the way we do it on Yom Kippur, right?
On Yom Kippur, we're doing it the other way. We're doing 3 times on the back. We don't do on the front. Here they're doing once on the front and 2 on the back. And if they're doing on the back, we do on the shoulders on the back. They didn't do it on the shoulders on the back. They did it on the back, the lower back. That's what it sounds like. Makkos Daf. They did 1/3 on the front and 2/3 on the back. They don't hit him when he's standing or sitting, only when he's laying. when he's like laying. Then Rabbi Pilu Ashefet, like the judge, like causes him to lay down, fall down. One that's striking him, strikes him with one hand, because he can have more strength or more aim if you're using one hand than if using two hands. You have to ask the people that throw footballs. So there's someone that's reading the verses. He reads the verses. What verses does he read? It says if he doesn't guard to perform the commandments. Hashem will make wondrous your afflictions. There's Makkos in the plagues. And then he would go back to read it again. And he also reads the verse, you will guard the words of this covenant. And he concludes, and that's what we say. And he is compassionate and he atones for sins. And he goes over it again. But how does he go over it? The Gra takes out that middle part where it says he goes over it. If the one that's striking him ends up killing him, he's pater. The one that's striking him, the court agent that carries out this punishment is exempt. But let's say he added an extra one, and then the person died, or he's a geil al yadi, he's going to go to exile. Until the Kohen Gadol dies. Niskalkal bein beri bein b'mayim. Let's say he soils himself, goes to relieves his bowels, releases his bowels while this is happening. He's getting lashes. Or he urinates, sputter. Rabbi Yehuda says no. The man would only be considered that he's been ashamed if he soils himself with number two. But the woman, would be considered shamed enough. She soiled herself just with urine, so she would be exempt that. And the man with urine wouldn't be shamed. It wouldn't be enough to release him. My timer, the Gemara says, what's the reason why his clothing, if they tear, Mishum Nikla, it says that he should be shamed. Amar Rav Sheshas Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. How do they translate Nikla over there? What is that? No.
Debased.
Demeaned. Over there they say debased or demeaned. No, it says demeaned. I guess it means shamed. Okay. How do you know that it's made out of calf? It says you hit him. The pasuk says he's hit 40 lashes. And it says not to muzzle an ox when it's threshing. So we say, oh, you should hit him, not muzzle an ox. It must be that the material that was used was from an ox. Okay. How do we know that we don't compel or like push the Yavama to do the Yavama is the widow that's supposed to marry her brother-in-law, right? So we don't push it to get married if he has boils, if he has disease. And it says it says not to muzzle an ox when it's threshing. In the pasuk of Yibam comes right after that, which means that we don't muzzle her. She's allowed to say her opinion. I don't know why she's being called an ox, but she's allowed to say her opinion, and she doesn't want to step into this marriage. She's not fond of this. Okay. Amar Rav Sheshas Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Rav Sheshas says the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah is way earlier than Rav Sheshas. He heard this in the name of anyone that degrades Okay. Would be like disgraces the festivals. The Rivan says it's referring to Cholamayid. I guess he works on Cholamayid. So then it's as if he worships idols. You can't make molten images, molten gods for you. And next to that pasuk it says, "It's Chagamas Tishmar." You should keep the holiday of Pesach. The Gemara is not talking about the Yom Tov itself because that's a verse in the Torah that you have to follow. But the Cholamayid, maybe you could say more lenient. That's nice. And no, it's being strict about that. Amr Rav Shesha Mishum Rav Elazar ben Azariah. Rav Shesha says the name of Rav Elazar ben Azariah, Kol Mesaper Lashon Hara, Kol Mekabel Lashon Hara, anyone that talks Lashon Hara, and anyone that receives the recipient, one that hears the Lashon Hara, the Chol Hameirei the Sheker, and anyone that testifies falsely, is fit to be, is worthy of being thrown to the dogs. It says that the non-kosher meat you throw to the dogs. And next to it says, you should not take my name and like to swear falsely. And Kari Sashi, we're reading it not just Leisisa, not to you yourself to swear falsely, but also not to cause someone else to hear. How do they translate that? Sashi would mean to cause someone else. Be a corrupt witness. And then how do they read it? You should also read the term Leisisa. You shall not cause a false report to be accepted. Which denotes a prohibition against speaking derogatorily.
It says
They
should not relate a false report. Should not.
Yeah. So they must be learning Lashon Hara as a false report. We didn't always say that. We thought a false report was Mitzvah Shemra. Lashon Hara will usually be translated as something that's true. Right. So why over here is it saying that Lashon Hara is false? Should cause someone to hear something false. Interesting, no? Okay. There's two straps. Tana started, and then next to it there was there was the strap of the calf, and there were two straps of a donkey. Tana Shel Chamar was taught in Rice, it's from a donkey. What were the two straps? It must be that the must be that the Gemara didn't have this version, because our Mishnah already says it's from a donkey. You see that? It must be that the Gemara didn't have those words in the Mishnah. Like this Galilean taught in front of Rav Chizda. It says, Yoda Shar Kineo, the ox knows its master, and the donkey knows where to get its food from. It knows its trough. Yisrael la Yoda, but the Jewish people don't know it's God. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, let the one that knows its trough, where it gets its food, the Yifra, and it should pay retribution to the person that doesn't know its trough, that doesn't know who's sustaining him. Obviously, the person sinned. That's what we're calling him, that he doesn't know where he gets his sustenance from. So we get the donkey that knows where he gets his sustenance from, come and hit him. The other tefach, it was wide tefach, Amar Abaya, and it said that it's only supposed to reach up until the edge of his stomach, not to go on. Rabbi Shmami, no, we learned from this, Kol Chad B'Chad Lafum Gabei of Dinalei. We make a new whip for each person. Amalei Rava says to him, sorry?
More stiff.
Well, here the idea is because it needs to be the right size. The person needs the size needs to be perfect. Like, this is very rare that you have Abaye and Rava talking. No, this is not real. You have this all the time. This is fine. It's Rava and Rabba that don't really talk. Abai and Rava talk. Okay. In Cain, Rava says to Abai, in Cain Nafish Levitus Tuva. Then they're going to have so many whips. Just like the whole Besdin is going to be loaded with whips on the wall. Every person that ever got lashes. It'll be like a suit shop. That, they have like different sizes. What size are you? Take another whip. Ela Marava Avkasa Islay Kibai Miktar Bay Kibai Marpaba. It had like a helmet, you can make the right size. It has like this loop where you can stretch it, extend it, or make it smaller. It has a loop, and they would tie it up, and they would make it small. Malkanai say they would do 1/3 on the front and 2/3 on the back. How do we know this? The judge has him collapse. He called the fun of K'dei Rishasi b'mispar, and he hits in front of him the amount of his wickedness in number. Rishachas milfanav. The Gemara is learning this, that it means that the kol lefanav, they hit him in the front. Must be how it's doing it. And then Rishachas milfanav shtei rishais me'acharav. K'dei rishasai, that was in the back. The plural was in the back. The double was in the back, so it was divided into thirds. Ein malkanai say chulu. Rav Chisda Rabbi Yechanan. Chisda says name of Rabbi Yechanan. How do you know that it was doubled? It's never v'pilu. It says v'pilu. Now apparently there's a word. V'pilu means in Aramaic or something that it's doubled. Do they have that in the note? What do they say?
So they became 4 straps.
And how do we know that Vipilu is teaching me that? Do they explain how Vipilu teaches that? That they doubled it over?
The other point says ein pei.
Oh, but listen to what they say. What does the Quran say?
Because they have ein pei.
Ayin pei. What does that mean, to double?
Yeah, because you have 2 pays.
They say in the art scroll, they say, do not read the Vihipilu, shall cast him down, but rather Vihichpilu, shall double it. Hichpilu, like kefel. The elucidation is based on the version of our text cited in Diktuke Seifrim in the Yerushalmi. This line not extant in our Yerushalmi. Indeed, we have no Yerushalmi at all on the 3rd chapter of Makkos. Rabbi Natan did not have this extra line and explained the Gemara differently. However, he was not satisfied with his explanation. All right, I don't see the Rabbi Natan. Okay. So whatever the case is, somehow from the Pila we get that it's doubled. But we said already that we needed to tell us that they hit him, that he's not standing or whatever. So then the pasuk should have said that they have him lean. What does it mean? They make him fall. It means two things. First of all, that he's not sitting or standing, and second of all, that the strap is doubled. The one that's hitting hits with his hand. It says he hits with one hand. So in the Brisa, the chazan that's hitting, you don't get the strongest guy on the block. They get the weakest guy on the block, but should be a Talmud Chacham who's weak. Rabbi Yehuda says the opposite. You get a guy that's lacking in knowledge, but has a lot of strength. They're looking like, where do we get this guy from? Rabbi Yehuda says, well, you can go to the gym. You take him from the gym. And the other guy says, no, you take him from the Beis Medrash. The Tanakama says. Rava says, it's probable that it goes like Rabbi Yehuda. Yosef ben Yosef. says we shouldn't add any extra. You have to warn him that he shouldn't add. If you say that he's lacking in knowledge, that's where you have to tell him that he can't add anything extra. But if he's wise on his own, you need to be warned. But the Rabbanan respond to that. The one that's careful, he's the one that it helps the warning that you warn the one that's careful. That's not. Yeah. The locks that you put on the door are for the honest people. The robbers, they break the locks anyway. The locks are not for them. That's what he's saying. That you warn the people that are naturally honest. Tana. Shemagbiya. Yeah, I remember they didn't lock the doors in the yeshiva in Los Angeles. So they asked the Rosh Yeshiva, how come we don't lock it? So he said, if we're going to lock it, then we're going to get professional gun over. That we don't want. Okay.
This one would just leave the door. He said that he didn't want them to break the window. Then it would cost them a lot of money to replace the window. So he would just leave the door.
Even, yeah. Then what's there to take? Tana was taught, listen to this. We said he hits him with one hand, but when he goes back to get the strike, he has to hold it with two hands, and then he lets go one hand out, and he continues with one hand. So I don't know how that works. Somehow, apparently, that makes it stronger. I think. Or the teisei. Oh, there's different versions here of this. How do they translate it? Mirazie, from his strength, I guess. Should come from his strength. Do they have a? Should come from him.
Earlier, they said that with all his might, but it wasn't in bold. And
Right.
then it had the whole discussion about the strong guy and the not so
Right.
strong guy.
No, but over here in the Mishnah it said that they hit him with all his might. That was that's quoting back to Mishnah. It says Makkah we said that he hits with all his strength. Okay. And then they read the verses. Tana Rabbana was taught in the Braisa. The first of the judges, it means the greatest judge. There's three judges, right? He reads the verses. Hasheni, the second one, Maini, does the counting. Lashlishi Aimeriko, and the third one says strike. Bisman Shemaka Maruba Marach. If he's hitting him a lot of times because he's getting the full 40, then he has to extend the verses. Bisman Shemaka Muates. So how fast does he daven? If he's getting just a few lashes because he can't handle it, then Mekatzer, then he says it's shorter. Okay, Vanantanan, what are you saying you say it's shorter? We said what do you extend it this? It says that you just repeat it. So that means that you don't have to say it faster or shorter to extend it. You just start again. Gemara says mitzvah l'tamtim. Mitzvah to be concise. Keep it just once, to just say it once. Be like timtim, but if it was longer than that and he finished, then then you go back. So really, you should try to extend it to the size of thing. But if you end up finishing, then you start again. Tana Rabbana was taught in the Brisa Makkah Rabbah. Says a big strike. In other words, it's talking about over here only if he hits him, if the person hits him more than he was supposed to. How do you know that you shouldn't do less than what you're supposed to? Pasuk says, don't add. In Cain, Matamad Leimer Makaraba. This is Aleph. Supposed to say instead of Al Ela. Let me use your Gemara. It's going to tell me. Oh, Not to do less. Not to do less. The question over here is, how does this work? It starts on this side, right? How do we know you can't add a great number of blows? How do you know you can't even have a small amount more? That was the question, not to do less. How do you know you can't even add a little bit more? So it says lo yosef, you cannot add. So why do we say makorab, a great amount, if you can't even add a little bit? It's coming to teach us that the first slashes have to be that they're considered a great beating. That he's supposed to use all his strength. That's what it means. Switching over here from the number. The makarabba means that he uses all his strength. Okay. And we talk about the if the person soiled themselves during the lashes. Taner Rabbanan. Taner Nebraisi. Echad ish v'echad isha b'rei v'lei b'mayim dibrav meir. Meir says that they would only let the person go if he soiled himself with number 2, with excrement, not if he urinated, or he or she. Rabbi Yehuda says no, it depends. Ish b'rei. You let the man go if he soiled himself. The isha, you let the woman go even with if she urinates. They say both for each. The Chum are the most lenient. But Tanya, the problem is we have a Bryce Rabbi Yehuda says that both man and woman, if they soil themselves, but when what we quoted in the Bryce was the woman is only if she urinates. No, Rabbi Yehuda was saying was that a man or a woman, if they soil themselves, they go free. But the woman has one more thing that she goes free, which a man doesn't have, and that's if she urinates. Amr Shmuel, Kaftu, they tied him up. Ratzmi Bestin, and he escaped. Spatter. Wow. Goes free. It's like a jail, break out of jail, free card. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. Right. Kala, that means if he was debased, you know, that's the word they use. Whether it was before they hit him, whether it's after they hit him, whether the beginning or the first one or the second one, I guess, then he goes free. If the strap breaks, then they exempt him only after they hit him, but not beforehand. Only if they hit him once, then they would let him free from that. But not if they didn't hit him yet, then they don't let him free. Amai Levi Karatz. What's the problem? Just if he runs away, he goes free. Once he gets out of it, so he's free. So if even before they hit him, he should also, if the strap breaks, it should be like he escaped. So it's Hasam Ratz, Hachalai Ratz. Over there he ran. Over here he didn't run. What's the excuse? What's the explanation that if he runs free, it's exempt? Taner Rabbanan, it doesn't say. Amdu, if they about the Shiyikle, Amdu, Shiyikle Kala. It means they assessed what he can handle, and then he soiled himself. Paicham I say. Shiyetze mi bestin, Kala, Maklin I say. Let me read it from your Gemara.
You're gonna get.
Say?
Guard, that was dunking in the water.
Yes. Played from the court, that is the meaning experience. Huh. Not because it is considered as if he already been demeaned when he is bound to the post. Thus, in the Bryce's case, when the strap broke before he was even hit, has not been demeaned and he is not yet exempt. I guess the running itself is demeaning. That's what they mean. And so once he has been demeaned, so then he's already received some sort of punishment. Now it says, if the Beis Din judged him that he would soil himself upon receiving the initial lash, then they exempt him from any further lashes. That's what it means. Amduhu, that's what it means. They estimated that he's going to soil himself. So then they exempt him. But if they assessed that he would soil himself after leaving the Beis Din, after all the lashes, then Malka, then they give him the lashes. Because the problem is only he's going to soil himself before he gets any of the lashes, then they would just exempt him. even if he soiled himself before the lashes began, then Malkin, I said, then they give him lashes. Remember, it says only if they strike him and then he's demeaned. That's when they let him go. But not if he was previously been demeaned in the best before receiving that humiliation won't exempt him. It's only after the lashes started that he'll be exempt. But the interesting thing is that if they assessed him that he's going to soil himself after the lashes start, then they exempt him. But if he soils himself before, then they don't exempt.
Could he just like not eat?
What is it?
Could he just like not eat beforehand? When you go on, like a person goes into an operation, they have to be fasting.
Yeah, maybe that's what they have to do to him. Yeah, otherwise this would be like an easy way out. Just unless it was so embarrassing that he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I guess it's very embarrassing.
Okay. Good
Thank you.
job with everyone.
Thomas.
Thank you. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.